The big question for car shoppers is not whether or not the Corolla should be cross-shopped against the Prius. The big question is, for 400 extra bucks, is the Corolla Eco a better buy than the regular Corolla? With the 2014 redesign of its Corolla line, Toyota decided to employ a few efficiency tricks to squeak out an extra 3 miles per gallon combined. This is not a hybrid, it is just an eco car. It looks sporty, it's got a nice front-looking clip. A few materials are questionable, like the carbon fiber on the front grille that's not really carbon fiber, it's just an imitation plastic. The Corolla can now claim in eco version up to 42 miles per gallon combined, or 40 with the alloy wheels within 16-inch size, and 35 miles per gallon combined, which is very good for an already fuel-sipping car. That 42 miles per gallon, by the way, puts it only 6 miles per gallon less than the Toyota's vaunted Prius hybrid. However, the combined fuel economy is only 35, so there is a disparity of 15 miles per gallon between Prius and Corolla. Known for reliability, known for dependability, and high resale value, Toyota wanted to update the car, and in doing so, they brought over design cues from the Camry and from the even the Avalon. So it does look part of the family. They're trying to appeal to a more youthful audience. It's got some sporty design cues and pretensions to look, you know, it's kind of like it's ready for action. Both the Eco and the non-Eco Corolla have a 1.8 liter four-cylinder engine. With the Eco, Toyota brought over for the first time to North America its so-called valve-matic engine, which basically has different variable valve timing than the non-Eco. That is said to give 140 horsepower and 126 pounds-feet of torque compared to 132 and 128 respectively. So that's a 5% increase for the Eco version, and it gives you more miles per gallon in the EPA cycle and in the real world. The car is also combined with a CVT transmission, and Toyota made a big deal out of it this time. You may have heard in the press there's a growing consensus that CVTs are not cool for everybody, and so they've gone and made pains for the acceleration and the deceleration to simulate gear shift points. They do work, you can hear it. They're not always predictable. A lot of times you do get that so-called rubber band effect, and that's not our words, that's Toyota conceding to the critics. When they redesigned the Corolla, one thing that Toyota did was they stretched the wheelbase a whole bunch, for almost 4 inches to be not quite exact. And a lot of that ended up right here where I'm sitting. I have this front seat adjusted all the way back on its track. I'm just about 6 feet tall, and it won't go back any further. And I have knee room back here because they've given about 3 inches more rear leg room. So you can put real size grown-ups in this car, front and back. It's got a relatively flat bench seat back here, and they've also repositioned the exhaust system underneath the floor to make the rear floor a little bit flatter as well. So even the middle row person could sit in here and not have their legs crunched up. About the only thing that I would call out here on this is my headroom. It's just a little bit tight. The cloth of the seating it actually shows water. The minute you put something like a wet water bottle or anything, it shows. And there is dirt starting to accumulate on this cloth fabric that they used. Surprisingly, there's actually no way to open the trunk, but you do get that with the key. So the electronic key does open the trunk. And when you look inside, this thing will just swallow up suitcases. And the rear seat backs are 60-40 folding. So they're a split seat back, customary for pass-through. When Toyota redesigned the Corolla for 2014, they gave the whole car an interior refresh. The vehicle is still a Corolla by identity and the way it's designed, but materials have gone up in quality. The layout and the design of the horizontally laid out dash, the ergonomics, the fit and feel, materials, they're improved. The vehicle that starts at 19,300 thereabouts and runs up to just shy of 23,000 for the most fully equipped model is a basic car. The 6-inch touchscreen, in this car it does not have nav, but it's when you do put nav in this vehicle, when you are able to parse it out, what happens is you split up that screen so that you have some very small information readout that is so small it's like looking at your smartphone. It does work though, and you've got a bunch of equipment that you would never have on an old line vehicle from the past. You know, I actually find it refreshing that this vehicle is so basic. In the old days you would have called this plain Jane. I know Toyota has lavished the superlatives on how much they've changed this car and all the dynamism that's involved in the design, but truly it's a basic car with a few modern concessions. Going around a corner in the vehicle, ordinary amount of body roll. Nothing, no flat cornering going on here, not a sports car, doesn't even try to be one. It just works. Braking performance is solid. You know, the brakes haul the vehicle down at a reasonable pace. You go down the road and you hit medium bumps, large bumps. Some of the choppier stuff that we get around here in the East Coast where I am, it has bottomed out a few times, and it's definitely not as compliant as, say, a Camry. It's amazing how many of these cars they've sold. They've sold 40 million of these vehicles through 2013. It was launched in Japan in 1966. They're produced in 16 countries in different facilities and sold in 154 countries. In the United States, it's one of the best-selling cars. For the extra $400 over the regular Corolla and for 3 miles per gallon combined, it's hard to fault the Corolla Eco. There are more fuel-efficient cars out there and more sophisticated solutions, but it's almost a no-brainer and at least makes a whole lot of sense.